Before we get started, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and share this video. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to What in the Hell Am I Doing Wrong? I am your host, Jameelah B. And before we get started today, make sure you like this video, share it, and subscribe to my channel. So today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Omar Bogan, who you see Omar Speaks. He is a teacher, a coach, a motivational empowerment speaker, and he is the author of this book that we're going to talk about today, Dating with a Destination, and he is from Nashville, Tennessee. So you all, let's welcome Mr. Omar. Omar, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much. A beautiful day after yesterday. So yeah, it's great. Great day today.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Great. Thank you. And thanks for being on today. I've been watching you on social media for a while, and I love your memes and all of your encouraging words and relationship advice. But before we get started, I just want to know what inspired you to write this book, Dating with a Destination?
What inspired me was that after my divorce, I wanted to work on me because I felt like I didn't know me like I needed to in order to date properly. So I started working on me. I started looking at a lot of personal growth, a lot of leadership stuff, things that I felt like I was insecure in, and working out and started eating right, things, all that. Just everything that encompasses being a better person. I also thought that it was some things that I need to look at really deep within me. So that's what made me think about it, writing it, because it was something that I did. I went through it and it changed me because I felt like I was in that cocoon process where I was growing and learning more about myself. And then when I actually was able to see who I could really be, I was like, oh, wow, wait a minute, I'm better than this. So I don't have to accept this and I don't have to accept that. I don't have to accept the nonsense. And I can create my destiny the way that I want to. And I don't have to accept the things that people want me, because sometimes you go through life and people say, hey, I know a great person for you, or I know this is a great situation for you, and they're putting something on you that's really not meant for you. And what you should have said no to in 6 seconds is going to cost you 6 years or 6 decades to get rid of. So I started to look at those type of things, and it made me realign myself with my mind, my sanity, my health. So that's what made me want to write the book, so that I could help other people get through the same thing.
Yeah, because when I got the book, when I first saw the title, Dating with a Destination, initially I went to, okay, I'm dating, my purpose for dating, the end result, what is it going to be? Is it going to be marriage? What's the end result? So that's immediately where I go, like, knowing what direction you want to go to when you're dating. But as I got more into the book, and when you talk about self-awareness, self-reflection, and self-realization, that hit home for me because I feel like that's the place that I'm in right now, because I'm divorced, I've dated, been dating, but a lot of the things that hindered my relationships, I didn't want to look at. I didn't want to look at me
Hmm.
as, okay, well, you need to probably look at yourself and see what is it that you've done? What has happened? What do you need to address with you? So do you find it that people find it difficult to look at themselves in the mirror and hit those hard facts as to what is going on with them?
Oh yeah, definitely. For me, it was I had a problem being open. Like I wouldn't be wide open in a relationship. I would go in guarded every single time, and it wasn't hard on the woman, but it was hard for me because I wouldn't connect, and I didn't realize that I wasn't the one connected. I'd say, "Well, I'm just not feeling them," and it wasn't them; it was me. So yeah, being able to check yourself and see what your faults are, or going back over past relationships and trying to figure out what it was that caused that relationship to end on your behalf, that's growth and that's maturity. And I think a lot of us don't want to see growth and maturity in a way where it makes us look like, you could have did better. You could have did a whole
Right.
lot better in that situation. You could have talked to that person better. You could have treated that person better. You could spend a little bit more time, or you could have been wide open with that person, or you could have been a little bit more transparent into the type of things that you had in your last relationship that caused you not to be 100% in this relationship. And I think if you do that, then it teaches you how to be more comfortable in your decision making.
Mm-hmm. And I like what Ursilia said in the comments. Realign self and renewing your mind is a true necessity in every aspect of our lives, whether it be personally or professionally. So I totally agree with that. And you talk about that in how you react in one situation, it goes, it spreads out through your life. And I want to go back to what you just said about trust. I know anytime I'm going into something new or I'm meeting somebody, immediately I have issues with trust. I don't trust anyone. And then I want to go back to, by you being a man and you being a relationship expert and you're giving advice to majority Black women, we have been let down recently by a particular relationship expert who a lot of people, had a lot of faith in, who really trusted. And I won't lie, I'm one of the people who trusted this person. I looked at what he said to be true because, I mean, he is a man and he came across as somebody who was standing up for women, who had women's best interests at heart. So when you see men like this who is married and then they, get caught up in these entanglements and are publicly put on display, how does that play into women having trust issues? Because I mean, if he's out here preaching one thing and complete platform is false, how do we, build that level of trust?
That's a good question. First and foremost, I put it like this: I'm not just I don't do just with relationships. I deal with personal growth and I deal with leadership. So those are three areas because I feel that as men, and most men, you need leadership, you need personal growth. But I also think that just a human person does need all that. So I try to dabble in all three areas. But with him, I have to ask the question, why were women looking at him? And the reason why I ask is because the majority of the women that I had debates with about this young man were like in their 40s and their late 30s. And I said, he's only 30. He's just turned 31. Like, you guys been listening to this guy for 8 years and no one knew how old he was. Like, no one realized that he's not talking from a place of learned behavior. He's not talking from a place of being coached on how to do it. He's not talking from a place of maturity. He's talking from another point of view, and he made his whole platform on disrespecting Black men. If a person is going to give you advice, they're supposed to be able to give you advice to where it's balanced, not unbalanced. And I think that we're so caught up in shock factor and shock value that we'll latch on to something because it's not happening to us directly, but it's happened to somebody else that will listen to it. Like for him, he attacked Black men. So Black women who were hurt or going through that, oh yeah, he's right. He sounds right because you're listening from a place of brokenness. I would say, first of all, you have to be transparent with yourself. Are these questions? Am I listening to this man from a place of brokenness, or am I really listening to it from a healed place, hearing what he's really saying? Am I really listening, or am I just hearing him say things to be saying things? And then the other thing, do your homework on the person. Research that person, kind of learn a little bit more about their background, where they came from. Have they been life coached, or have they been through some type of training? Because we, I will tell anybody, we as speakers have a responsibility to be transparent. We have responsibility to the platform, and we have responsibility to our people. And if any life coach doesn't look at that way, you shouldn't be listening to them. And they shouldn't be just trying to sell you on gimmicks and books and stuff like that. They should wholeheartedly want to just be able to help you build as a person. Because I think we've been sold enough as Black people that we need to stop trying to sell ourselves on our Black people. So yeah.
Yeah, and for those who are watching, even though we didn't name him, I will go ahead and say I'm talking about Derrick Jackson, and I am one of those women. I am 40. I'm 43. I'll be 43 in April, so technically I am 43, and I never did my research on this man, but because of the place, like you said, you have to see the place that you're in when you start listening to them. I was in a place of brokenness myself as far as relationship, so it was refreshing to see a Black man who many women found to be attractive, to see like he had his life going well. He was articulate. So, we were very drawn to that. So I never did my homework on him. I did not know how old he was. I did not know he was even married. So to me, just finding out that he's
Yeah, no
married
one
right
knew.
now, that was a big aha moment for me. And like I said, I have trust issues when it comes to relationships anyway. So that whole situation, like I said, I wasn't surprised, disappointed, but not really surprised. But yeah, so I know a lot of women are struggling with that.
Yeah, Team Spiral. I mean, I'm not understanding what happened, but I don't know why the masses are so because he's getting it bad. I thought Trump got it bad. He got roasted. I mean, goodness gracious. You got Donkey of the Day on Hot 97?
Yes, he even
New
made it
York
on CNN. It was like a
New
big
York New York Post and CNN, man. Yeah. I see when you if I'm on a
I think.
live, if I'm doing a live and I tell people all day long, don't just listen to what I say. Go back and do the homework. Look at it. Because I try to keep it balanced. I'm not going to just say, hey, the fellas need to do this, 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 because also women are responsible in this. And what women don't realize is that they are the temperature and the men are the thermostat. Because a man's
Mm,
going to do whatever you allow him to do. So
hmm
if you make him come to you with respect, honor, admiration, like the queen and the goddess that you are, he'll have no choice but to rise to that occasion. But if you want to stay down there with the hood brats and the Cardi B style, and you think it's cool to do that, when he meets you at that vibrational level, don't get mad when he treats you and leave you at that vibrational level.
Wow, I love that, the thermostat and the temperature. I like that little analogy. I like that. And Darryl Moore, who is alumni of Tuskegee, he said he not even welcome to homecoming no more. Poor Derek been kicked out of the homecoming.
Wow. Well, I mean, he didn't really attribute to the stats because they put his stats online about a couple of days ago, and I said, "Wow,
Mm.
that's not cool."
Okay,
Uh,
I believe some of his
self-realization.
thoughts, but when I heard him talk about himself in third person, I knew he was crazy. Yeah, he did his a reaction video in third person. Yeah, that was like the tip of the iceberg for me, and then that was a serious form of narcissism. And I think that when someone is taking it to that level, there is some kind of issues going on. But again, he's just one of the many, and I wanted to bring him up today because
He following
it was a
Jesus.
big deal, I mean, because a lot of women, we looked at Derek Jackson as the gospel. Not me, but a lot did. So it is
Hmm.
very disappointing. It's extremely disappointing. So when we talk about, people putting people up on status levels of, like, I wouldn't say like a god, but putting them up so high to the point where when something like this does happen, it brings this trust. How do you get, as a woman, how do you get to that point of, I'm going to have everything on a clear slate when I meet someone new so that there is no issue? Like, I'm not going in already jaded, like, oh, I don't trust him. How do we get to that point to give everyone just an equal playing field? Like, just a clear, your slate is clean going into the relationship.
You gotta get to know you. You gotta look at your
Mm-hmm.
past decision making when it came to dating, and you have to know what went wrong in that relationship. And so you have to take that time to learn you and be a better you, be self aware, self realization, and really hitting on those key things. And what was the things that I did that might have, you know, made a damage to relationship? Because it takes two. I
Right.
mean, the guy does a lot. Let's be real. I mean, guys do a lot. They do mess around. They do play games. They're not taking it seriously. They're not trying to settle down. And I definitely understand that. But you also have to look at you allowed it to a certain extent. So if you're going to allow it to a certain extent, then you need to be able to have some parameters going into it. Trust yourself to make the decisions that when you're looking at a guy and you're talking to a guy, because in COVID, like this season that we're in now, where COVID's here, you have the right to make them talk. If a guy can't converse with you on a level to where he's got your head and your heart in a place of comfortability, why are you going to make him be the quarterback of your team? How's he
Absolutely.
going to lead you to? How's he going to lead you to a championship if he can't even throw a pass 10 yards?
Right. And again, you talk about, what we tolerate. So a man will only do what you allow. Okay. And one of my friends, LaDonna, she always say, don't complain about what you tolerate. And that's the absolute truth. So if you're tolerating it, don't complain about it. Just deal with it. So in your book, you do talk about setting boundaries and not settling and different things like that. Why is it that women, especially, and you would think that at my age, women would be better at setting boundaries and not settling? Why is it like a growing epidemic of people who just feel like they just need to settle for whatever?
Well, let's look at the movie setting. Let's look at what type of movies we watch. Look at what type of music we watch. I mean, We've adapted to that type of behavior. Okay, well, she marries the guy or she dates the guy that is down on his luck and he's not, up to par, or she dates the guy who is not the one that she really wants, or she settles. It's okay to settle as long as you know that settle can be an upgrade later on down the road. If that's the case, Most guys don't. But I would say that if women in today's society, I don't think that women should have to. I think they settle because their girlfriend settled. And I think it might be the circle they may be in. Because when you know better, you do better. So if you know better and your circle isn't doing better, you might have to find a new circle. Or you may have to roll solo, whichever one. And be like, well, girl, how'd you get him? Like he's about his business. I had to leave y'all girls alone in order to do it. And sometimes you have to do that. But you have to make the best decision possible for you, not to be drugged down that road where you're settling for something that's not going to give you substance, that's not going to be real in your life. That's what you need to do.
That is true. And then, okay, and then you said it could be an upgrade down the road. What does that necessarily mean? Like, I feel like at 43, okay, I'll be 43 in April. And if I meet a man that, to me is not where I want a man in my life to be, and he's in his 40s, how can that be an upgrade down the road if he's not already trying to establish himself now?
That's just it. He has to be trying to establish himself. If he's already got a job, okay, he's halfway there. But if he has a passion for something and he feels like, okay, and I ain't talking about this rinky dink, I want to be a rapper at 40. I'm talking about like he really has a clear cut desire and a plan to do something. He can let you in on it and you can tell that he has a drive and desire to do it, then I can say there could be an upgrade down the road. Or if he is the type of guy who's really driven to where he's at, where he's not just trying to be the manager, he's trying to be the owner of the company. So he's willing to take strides to do that type of thing, where it's to come up for you both at the same time. Or if he's able to create a business venture where both of you guys can come in and grow something and grow an empire. That's where the potential comes. But you have to be able to see that potential, not just assume. It's okay to have potential, but you got to have not only a potential, but a plan that's going to lead to the promise.
Absolutely. Okay, we have a question. What are your recommendations on approaching the conversation surrounding boundaries and future planning within a relationship when it pertains to the involvement of family and friends?
Mm, that's a good question. What recommendations for approaching conversations surrounding boundaries? Boundaries are set the way that you want them to set, ladies. If you decide that you don't want to have, if you don't want him to meet your children within the first 6 months, that's a boundary. Set that boundary in the very beginning. If you don't want to be intimate in a certain amount of time, set that boundary. You know why? Because it's your body, it's your right, it's your life. And in order to have a successful life stress free of whatever it is stressing you other than that, you have the right to control that. And boundaries set on his behalf, he may set some boundaries, that's cool. But you have to set boundaries in order to not just set them to be setting them, but because they're safeguards. For each boundary that you set up, you need to have a reason for it. And so that would be my thing on that. Set up boundaries according to where you see that that might be a problem or was a problem in the past and you don't want that problem anymore. So set boundaries up to that. Have the conversation on what you're expecting as well, because that is a boundary. Because if you're set up an expectation, that's a future boundary. And if he doesn't make it to that future boundary after talking to him, then yeah, you can go ahead like say, okay, well, what are we gonna do? We've been dating. If we date for 6 months, what are you gonna do after 6 months? If he says, well, I don't know, we have to see. He doesn't have a plan for you. That means, well, at 6 months, I want to have a relationship. What do you say about that? He said, well, I don't know, we have to see. Then you know that right now he's not where you want him to be. That's still a boundary. So sometimes you have to think ahead in chess moves and say, look, this is what we need to do. This is what I'm looking for. What are you looking for? As far as implementing family, I think that was the second part of the question, right? Implementing family, or was it the
Yeah,
first?
when it pertains to the
Future
involvement of
planning.
family and friends.
Okay. As far as family and friends, I would say for the first, I would say for the first 90 days, don't bring him around family and friends. Get a feel for who he is because you don't want him intermingling with people that you know in the very beginning. You want to you'll let your friends know about him, of course, but don't bring him around. Just try to kind of get a one-on-one perspective, try to get a read on him because first 30 days, yeah, he's gonna be Mr. Superman. He'll have an S on his chest. He's gonna be great. Maybe 60 days because some of these people have that that good representative where they get paid by the KGB. But then you got some of these people out here that, they can't make it past 60 days. So that real person begins to come out and you can actually see what you're dealing with. So you can find out if he has anger issues. You can find out if he doesn't know how to handle his finances. You can find out if he's a womanizer. And this way, you don't invite that into your personal life with family and friends. And they looking at you like, what the hell you bring up in here now?
Right. And that is so true because in order to meet my family, you have to be really somebody important to me because you're not coming around me. And I did mention earlier, you always post like different memes and different things with sayings from Omar Speaks, hashtag Omar Speaks. And this one speaks volumes to me because this is something I think is so important. You deserve someone who can't wait to talk to you and spend time with you and get to know you and fall in love with you. Please stop settling for half-hearted and lukewarm and hesitant and indecisive. It's so much better to be alone than to be with someone who makes you feel alone. So I mean, I feel that to the core of who I am because I'd rather be by myself than be with somebody and I feel like I'm by myself. If that makes sense,
Yeah,
that when I
it
saw
makes
that, I
sense.
was like, that's speaking to me. Hmm.
It makes sense. The last relationship I was in, I felt that way. So that's the reason why I could relate to it.
I
I
did
was in a
too.
relationship, and the young lady that I was in a relationship with, she was all about herself. I could bring something to her and talk to her about something, and she would go right back to talking about what's more important to her. And it wasn't. It was all one side. It was like whatever she wanted to do, whatever she wanted to do. She never engaged. Matter of fact, she never even indulged in anything dealing with what I do now at
Oh,
all. If she was not non-existent, it was what she wanted to do, and that was it. Even when the book came out, even when I was writing the book, I came to her and gave her, let her read the first chapter, and she was so worried about her friend coming in town. She was like, "Oh, okay, sounds nice," and that was it. She didn't say anything else about it. So if you're not investing in your man, then yeah, you want somebody like that. You want somebody that's just as happy about your future and what you're doing as you are about them. When it's one sided and you do it so much, you become emotionally, um, spiritually, mentally, and sexually bankrupt at that point because you don't want to be bothered with them because you see that you're giving so much and they're not giving it back.
yeah, and I mean, I think that's so important to be, each other's cheerleaders, because I feel like if you're
Yeah.
not happy for me doing something that I feel is positive, I even had my ex come, one of the ex, my last ex, he felt like this platform was like all about him, like I was just creating this platform to be a bad session on him. And I'm like, you don't have that kind of power over me. But instead of
Yes.
just saying, oh, I know you enjoy hosting, this is something that you like, he took it upon his narcissistic self to make it seem like I was creating a platform to bash him when I have not. That was not even my goal, but people do that anyway. Let's
My ex thought the
see.
my ex
Oh,
thought the
we have a
same thing.
question.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a hit dog will holler if you feel like you did some dirty stuff. Oh well. Okay. Someone says, "What about organically getting to know someone as opposed to setting boundaries? I think boundaries lend to limitations, which will end with distrust." Okay.
Mm, okay. You can get to know a person organically, but you're still going to have boundaries because if he just happens to walk up to you and you guys have a great dinner, he said, "Hey, can I get that afterwards?" The boundary probably, 9 times out of 10 is gonna be like, not no, but hell no. Like I just met you, so that's still gonna be a boundary. But I mean, organically, you can do it any way you want to. Um, Boundaries are set in place for safeguards, just to make sure that you're safe, and you can still have boundaries in place and still grow with a person organically. The key is to know that this person is there for more than just one night or just a session and that's it, or just a couple of sessions during the week and he ain't trying to invest in
Mm-hmm.
anything else. So if you want to get to know a person organically, it's no problem. Just make sure that the formula that you use is going to be beneficial for both of you.
Right. And I know, like, as far as trust issues and different things like that, um, going forward, it's hard for me to organically get to know someone because I do have those barriers put up and those boundaries put up.
Hmm.
And I hear what you're saying. I do believe that that's something I need to work on within myself of, letting down those boundaries so I can organically learn the person. So I do think that is very important. Okay.
Yeah. I think organic is good. I like to know people organically, but I still have boundaries set in place. I still do. Like
Mhm.
no one meets my sister. That's my heart. And yeah, anybody would tell you if you meet his sister, you are one of the lucky. Well, I put it this way: you are lucky because I've only brought one home to
Oh,
her to see to visit,
wow.
and that was yeah. I was
Wow. And my ex husband
yeah,
was like that.
yeah. Only one, because my mom
Yeah.
is no longer
My
living, my dad's no longer living, and she's my oldest sister, and we're the closest. Both of us born in July, so we're the closest two of the family, and we're the only two without children as well. And so we
okay.
just bond like that. So when it comes down to the wire, if I say, "Hey, I'm dating somebody," she'll listen, and she's like, "Nah, I don't want to meet her." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Mm-mm, "No, I don't want to meet her." I'm like, "Why not?" "Because I can tell in your voice she ain't gonna last long." I'm like, "Why do you say that? Like, come on, I mean, you didn't give her a chance." She said, "Nah, mm-mm, I don't know." And because she
Oh
knows me,
wow.
that's when she knows. And then of course something happens down the road, and she's like, "Try to tell you," but so,
Wow. Yeah, my ex-husband was
yes,
that way. His mom told me that she knew he was serious about me because I was the first girl he had ever brought home to meet her. Like she had met other girlfriends by accident, but I was the one that he called. And at the time I didn't eat, like I was a pescatarian and I didn't eat meat. So she was like, well, you was like, you have to make her some fish or you have to make her this and any other. So, and we were in college, but she was like, I knew that he was serious about you because he had never brought anyone home to meet me.
yeah,
So that is true. Yeah.
wow,
That is, yeah.
yeah, that is
So
true,
okay,
definitely.
going forward in this, during COVID, we got the pandemic going on, and we're really not, we're getting back to some normalcy, I guess, with everybody getting vaccinated and different things like that. What do you think about these dating apps and online dating? Because I know a lot of times we get the representative, like when you're swiping left or right, you see, okay, this profile, he looks like he might be something, or she looks like she might be something. What do you think about, online dating and how are people meeting organically these days when you have all these representatives that are presented online or on the apps?
Dating apps to me is just sex traps. I hate to say that, but I mean, you might be able to find a needle in a haystack, but some of the stuff that's on there, the women are looking for love, the men are looking for lust. So I mean, the dating apps, they can tell you that you're going to get a good crop, but you're pretty much it's a toss up. It really is for men and women. It's a toss up because I've heard the horror stories. Have I personally ever went on one? No, I'm not. I just really feel that we need to really start getting out and finding places. And if not finding places, create venues where you can meet people.
Yeah.
Do that. But I would stay away from the apps. I would, because they no app is really gonna bring you a genuine connection, because you can meet somebody and talk to them all day long. And then when you meet them in person, you're like, oh my God, you don't even look nothing like the picture, and you're automatically turned off. Or, you look at the picture and you're like, wow. But then you hear him on the phone, he sounds like, he's from Backtown, Mississippi somewhere, and he's adding verbs and breaking nouns and splitting proverbs and stuff. You're trying to figure it out, but I would just really rethink your options on dating apps. Today, we're tribal, so we should be able to meet people. And I mean, we are opening up slowly. Look at trips. Look at meetup groups. Look at and when I say meetup groups, like groups that actually have some common interest with what you have something common interest with. That's more safer than just going on the app and saying, I like A, B, C, D, and G. Because when you got to remember, you're putting all your information on that app on what you
Mhm.
like. All they gotta do is clone themselves into what you like, and to get what they want, if they're
Mhm.
not there with the real intention of really wanting to date.
Yeah, and I have friends who, they've met, I have friends and family that met their, life partners online. And then I have people who have had catastrophic situations that were horrible experiences. So I guess it's a toss up. I guess you never know. And LaDonna is saying, I guess she's agreeing with something my sister said in the comments, but she said she dated a guy that called his mom a B. And she said
I'm
she was
looking.
from that day. Yeah. I mean, yeah, stuff like that. If I'm talking to someone and they call someone out of their name, or if they have a baby mama and they're disrespecting the baby mama, I don't want to hear none of that. That takes me to a whole nother
Right.
level, and I don't want I don't deal with that at all, at
I
all.
mean,
So yeah,
any man, yeah, any man is disrespecting a woman under any circumstances. Can't do it. Can't do it.
yeah.
I definitely would tell any woman, don't do it at all. Don't, because if not, because it's only a matter of time before he does it to you, and that's the sad thing. That's
And
the
that's
sad
how I
thing.
feel. Or you just don't have respect for women, period. Because I mean, for you to even have that conversation, that's just not that's not appropriate. That's not appropriate.
Yeah. Well,
And
and yeah, never mind, because that's a whole different
what were you
subject.
gonna say? Say it.
I was like, and these and this Kevin Samuels that these women are going to talking about rating women. I said, okay,
What you
This
think
is
about
he.
him? And I've had my own little, it's a lot.
Mhm.
It's a whole lot, but some men hold him as the holy gospel. I mean, they think that what he says is the truth. So, how do you feel about
No,
the rating women and the what is it, high
no.
value woman or man? What do you think
He
about
ain't
that?
even high value. The man owes child support. The man don't even have his. I mean, you
Thank
really
you.
want to get. You want to get down to the wire. You over here talking about what you know. Oh well, high value woman. You're not even a high value man. From my understanding, you living from place to place. You know, according to your ex-wife, you haven't had a relationship with your daughter. You had to call the ex-wife to tell her, "Hey, please don't say nothing because you're gonna hurt my business." You shouldn't be up there anyway because you ain't got. You're not a life coach. You're an image consultant. That's it. And I don't even know if you're an image consultant because some of the places that you were at look like stores I used to frequent way back in the day for suits. I'm just saying, but we're gonna leave that alone. But I mean, I saw something the other night where it was a young lady who, and women, do me this favor. Stop looking for men to validate you. You fine enough. You don't need a dude to validate you. You don't. So please stop that. But it was a young lady that was on there and she was about to, she asked him, she was 23 and she said something to the nature of, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know why I can't get a man. He said, first of all, how much do you weigh? As a man,
Right.
the cardinal rules, you never ask a woman how much she weighs. What's wrong with
Mm-hmm.
you? You know. But then he said, how tall are you? 5'8". Okay. He said, well, I mean, so you're about to weigh to Barry Sanders or Emmett Smith, so you can hit the O line with no problem. You hit the gap. He said, so don't no man want to be with you because I wouldn't want to know. He said, I'm 6 foot and 210. I don't want no woman I can line up in the power eye. She can hit the hole. Hut hut. I said, that's cold
But he
blooded.
does stuff like that. But I'm mad at the women who call
Yeah.
in because I'm like, why would you subject yourself to this man? I mean, and then you have a lot of women who say, but he's telling the truth. That's not true because
Okay.
if a man loves you and a man wants you,
It doesn't
regardless
matter.
of your size, I see some of it doesn't matter. It does not matter. So
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He
Because I
takes
mean,
me somewhere. When I first, I was disgusted.
I've dated some women that were heavier. I've dated some women that were smaller. To me, I'm a sapio, so you have conversation. If you have great conversation, you got my attention pretty much. Like, okay, let's talk. Let's see
Mm-hmm.
what you're talking about. But just say, of course, I want you to be cute. And anybody who knows me knows that Jill Scott, I love you. No, but I'm
Yeah,
just
but the
saying
Kevin Samuels, Jill Scott would not be high value.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at him, he's not high value.
No.
You got. I just want to understand why don't you look at the person that you're getting your information from. Look at the person that you're getting your wisdom from. Do they really have validation in giving you this? Are they credible in showing a track record? And for the men who believe that this is the gospel, dogging and rating women, and women say, "Well, he's telling the truth." Well, I tell you what, there's one thing I've learned when you accept a trend, don't get mad when the trend is starting to swallow you whole. Because if he is saying this to men and they're taking it
Mm-hmm.
as a gospel, you just wait till you're in a club somewhere and you with your girls and you think you feel like you a 20 and some guy look at you, oh, please, girl, you ain't nothing but a 5 to me. Your feelings
Yeah.
gonna be hurt, your face gonna be cracked and on the ground, you're gonna be ready to fight that dude. All because you're allowing this type of behavior now. Because what we don't, as black people do, we don't look at the ripple effect. We want a microwave decision that's not going to hold up later on down the road.
Yep. And that's the thing. It's like to me, a lot of men who follow him and love what he's saying, you just want to bash women. Seem like you just want to hurt women, and that's painful to watch. And Camila Spence says 600-pound life is proven that size doesn't matter because they all are either married or have live-in boobs. They do on 600-pound life.
Exactly.
All of those people, men
Exactly.
and women, they have devoted spouses. So yeah, it's and Takani Kevin Samuels, he's on, I don't want to boost him up right now, but he's on all these social media platforms. But he's a relationship person that, really he has this system of he rates women. And if you're not in the top, if you're not like an 8, 9, or 10, you just might as well just deal with whatever you can get. That's how
Yeah.
he's rating you.
Well,
So
he's operating under shock factor like Derrick Jackson did. That's the whole thing. That's how he got his whole claim to fame because he told a woman she was a 5.
yeah,
And My thing is, if you guys want to tune in for somebody having a train wreck, you gotta remember karma is not nice. So when it comes down around and it hits you the same way that it hits them, but it hits you in public instead of on virtual reality or virtual screen, don't get upset. Don't get mad. Remember, you agreed to this type of behavior. And whatever type, like I said, temperature, thermostat. He's a thermostat, but y'all are allowing him to control how you guys are judged, and that's not cool. And when you see a guy do that to another woman, you sisters should stick together and say, "Nah, wait a minute, brother, hold on. You ain't finna disrespect that sister like that. What's wrong with you?" And I think more sisters need to come together. And really, I would love to have a coalition of women that would come together and start, taking up for each other and bonding with each other. And instead of hating on each other, how cute this person is or how small this one is, let's be real with each other and say, you know what, we gotta stick together because if we're not for ourselves, ain't nobody gonna be for us. And it needs
Right.
to be a sisterhood like that. It does.
And because when I saw the first time I came to know him was when the video that went viral about when he told the woman, "You're just average at best."
Yeah, you're
I
five.
mean,
You're average. You're gonna die at best. Yeah, you're gonna die at five at best or something like that. Yeah,
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 and I'm looking at this man, and people are in the comments applauding him, and I said, no, 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 no. As a woman, I mean, I feel like every woman should feel like they're a 10 because you're a 10 to somebody, and
you are.
it's subjective. So it's
Hmm.
like I might be attracted to somebody, and somebody may not think I'm attractive at all. So it depends, So you can't go
Correct.
off what a man like Kevin Samuels is saying because I look at him and he would never be attractive to me ever. I mean, never. So it's like I
And
don't get it. It's
that's the kicker. Like, would you date Kevin Samuels? I have
never.
to ask every woman that if any woman is taking advice from this dude, ask yourself, would you date this man? And if you would date this man, I'm telling you, go get some help. Go get some help. Go get
Yeah, it's like
checked out.
you want to be abused or something. And that was like going back to Derek Jackson when he was talking to when he came out with his wife. That disturbed me to my core. I did a response video to that because I felt like as a woman or as a man, you've
Hmm.
placed yourself in this situation. 99% of your followers had no idea that you were married. So you did
Right.
not have your woman out there for the affair. So why would you have her out there for the repair? You know what I mean? So it's like then he had her
Thank
out
you.
there looking horrible. So it's like, what was that all about? That disturbed me on so many levels. And as a woman, I felt like he's beating up her self-esteem. He's also letting his side women know you see her, that's why I'm cheating. You see what she looks like. And it was just this, it was really, really depressing to me to see that. It was very
But I
upsetting.
mean, it's you falling on your own sword with your woman taking the blunt force of it. That's all it was. And you put her out there for the whole world to attack her to try to take it off of you, which is narcissistic. But the thing about what you don't understand is after Tanya TKO read those comments in her IG, I was blown away by the way that she really felt about herself. Her self esteem level was so horrible. I'm looking at him like, really, dude, this is what we do. This is a sister. I mean, this is a queen, and this is how we treat. This is how you treating her. I'm, but you're God's gift to every woman. I'm not understanding. I'm just not.
Right. Okay, Connie says, what's wrong with being average?
There is nothing wrong with being average because at the end of the day, you are who you are, and every person is uniquely made. So I don't think that any person is average. If someone calls you average, okay, I'm average in your eyes, but I'm a goddess to somebody else, and keep it moving because you know what? You're special and uniquely made, and what you need to do is wake up every morning and look in the window in the mirror and say, "I'm phenomenal. I'm a phenomenal woman. Hear me roar." And if you got to repeat something from Maya Angelou or whatever to make yourself even know that you are, then do the damn thing. But don't let anybody call you average because you wasn't average. You was brought into this world for a purpose and for a reason, not just for a season. So you do what you do and you be the best that you can be.
Absolutely. And I mean, I hear where she's coming from with that, but I mean, I know for me, I never look at myself as average. I never, and I mean, I'm not even talking about physically. I'm just saying, like, mentally, just who I am. I'm like, I always think, greater myself. So I always try to think on that level. But I do understand
Right.
what she's saying as well. And LaDonna says, I'll
I
never
mean,
be average on my workday. And all women need to walk in that light. That light shines on my crown and blinds those who think otherwise. I hear you.
man, I like that one. I like that one. That was a good one. I like that one. I like that one most definitely. But yeah, I mean, you don't ever consider yourself as average. And women, stop letting these men dictate you. I'm telling you, y'all got more control than you think you do. And if you guys don't start taking the control in your own hands and shaping the way that you want men to deal with you, you're gonna keep on dealing with this.
And I hear you. And I'm going back to another meme that you posted. But I'm going to say this.
Okay.
I'm a person, I'm not materialistic. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm not materialistic at all. I value the simple, thoughtful things in life. But when you posted this made me, just a woman doesn't require much. That doesn't mean you don't do the bare minimum. I mean, that doesn't mean you do the bare minimum. And so it's
Right.
like for me, I'm not one of those people you got to buy me a diamond ring or anything like that, but be thoughtful. Go out of your way to make me feel special. And I think a lot of men get caught up in that because most women be like, oh, I don't need that. And they like it. They like it.
Well, most men don't know how to do it anyway. So when a woman says, "Oh, I don't need that," they're fine with it. But then, what about just every now and then just saying, "Hey, can we go somewhere?" And you just stop and say, you find out like where she likes to get her nails done at, and you
Mm-hmm.
call ahead, you pay for it over the phone, and say, "Hey, when next time she come in, just remember I paid for her nails to get done," and do something that just the little things. I mean, it's not that difficult. But we as black men have not been taught how to be real men, and because we have not been taught to be real men, we don't know how to do the romantic things. We don't know how to do the things like back in the day. Like as for me, I do believe in opening the door. I do believe in standing up when you leave the room. I do believe in these things because these things were instilled in me. I believe in making sure that you're protected. Like if we're walking down the street, you're on the inside. Because I heard one guy, Jeremy, I think it's Holloway. He had said something. He's like, "You ain't supposed to stand on the side of me. You're supposed to stand in the back of women. So if something happened from the back, I take the blunt of the force." No, as a man, you're supposed to always be aware of your surroundings. So even if something's coming from the back, you need to be able to look over your shoulder and see that. So that's what you also need to have peripheral where she is at all times because even if you take the blunt force, if she's in front of you, she can get that. She can get be hurt as well. But men, I think the men come up with all these cliches on what they think being a man is. That's why we fall short because we've been taught so wrong on how to be men.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have pastors teaching you because they don't know how to be men. You don't have mentors out there anymore because most mentors don't take the time out to do it. And most young guys don't want to learn because they're too busy trying to be cool and listen to people who ain't gonna do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Absolutely.
general.
And Camila Spence posted during the early stages of dating, should you discuss what are the expectations for finances, paying for dates, etc. So should you do that in the initial phases? Like since we're talking about chivalry and different things like that, how should that go?
You can do that per date, or you could do that ahead of time. If you say, "Hey, I expect you to pay for certain, uh, for the meals, because you want to take me out," you have the right to say that up front, or you can just kind of feel him out and see what he's gonna do. But even if he's paying for every meal, stop him every once in a while and say, "Hey, I got this one." Just it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter, just stop him. But you have the right for the expectations. I would say set the expectations that you guys go Dutch in the beginning, just getting to know each other. And when he insists on paying, allow him to pay, but then also you take a couple payments. And that's just showing that you're not just trying to take from him where he's got to continue to give and give and give and give, that he shows that you're willing to give back and you're willing to work with him. That's all. That's as simple as you get.
Okay. And what do you okay, since you brought up going Dutch, a lot of women, they hear the thought of going Dutch, they immediately go to he's being cheap. So how do you feel? I mean, if it's established in the beginning, I'm okay if we've established that. So how do you have that conversation with a woman, when they're thinking about old school traditional things like a man's supposed to do X, Y, and Z? How do you initiate that type of conversation?
If I'm gonna say I'm gonna ask first. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, because some women are independent, Beyonce and whatnot. So if women want to be independent and they want to pay for the meal, that's cool. But I just ask them like, okay, how do you want to do this? Do you mind me paying? I don't want to offend you, or are you cool with going Dutch? What is it? Let me know what you want to do. Kind of put the ball in their court so they can try to tell me, check the temperature on what they're thinking. But me normally being the kind of guy that I am, I know if I say, hey, I really want to take you out to eat. My verbiage should say I want to take you out to eat. It shouldn't say I want to take you out to eat, but let's go Dutch. No, the man should be clear with his intentions. If I like you, All right, hey, can I take you out to eat? Can I take you to brunch? Let's meet up for brunch. Can we, I will let you know, I will initiate it. If I initiate it, then I'm paying. But
Okay.
also, if I feel like if I'm building the empire and I've told you about this type of thing, then 9 times out of 10, some men are on a budget. And it's not that they're on a budget where it's low, but they're like, okay, hey, can we do Dutch this time? Would you mind doing Dutch? I really want to see you. Can we do Dutch? Or if you're smart, fellas, plan a picnic. Learn how to cook. It's cheaper. But just saying, take some lessons. Uh, Darius's cookbook is on sale. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. But learn how to do some stuff. Don't just keep taking her out to eat. Try to do something different. I mean, the effort alone of just doing the picnic type thing, a woman will respect you way more than just taking her to a restaurant, especially if you ask her what type of wine she likes. You bring the wine, you bring the basket, and I ain't talking about no bread. I'm talking about give her a nice meal. Just give her something, something well cooked, something thought out. She's like, you know what, man? I kind of like this dude right here, man. He can get it. You know how women, you know how you women are. You be like, hey, bro, right there, about that. So yeah, it's the effort, fellas. Just paying for it. Just pay for it in a way. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
have a
because I mean,
conversation.
it makes a woman feel special if you put effort into something. Like to me,
Hmm.
taking me out to eat, that's nice. Don't get me wrong. I think those are nice things. But if you actually plan a picnic or you know I like a particular type of movie or I like something and you bring that to you
Yeah.
into that that means so much more to me than you buying me a diamond ring. And that's just me. Look, ladies, don't get mad. I'm speaking for me. So it's like I'm just
Right.
speaking for me. Those things matter so much more to me than materialistic things. So that matters. Being thoughtful matters a lot to me.
Yeah, and
So
fellas,
what I
bring
was
an
gonna say is like
iPad.
I like.
Learn her learn her favorite movie and bring an iPad so she can watch her movie at the same time while she's eating. You say, "Hey, I got something I want you to watch." Don't tell her what it is. Just cut it on and push play. She be like, oh, "You know I like that movie." That's what you're supposed to do. That way, hey, hands down. So she gonna be bragging about you and that first date or that second date or whenever that date happens from years to come. Like, girl, what was your best date? Man, it was this dude. He picnicked me and he brought a little iPad and he didn't. Man, girl,
See,
yeah,
you
take
dropping
that.
gems on them. You dropping knowledge nuggets. They need to be listening. Because if you came to me on a picnic and you had on a little iPad, you had Steel Magnolias or a marathon of the Golden Girls or I Love Lucy, you in with me. You good with me.
It's not that hard, fellas. It ain't that hard. If you learn and earn your woman, the rest of it is easy. I promise you. And it's not that hard to learn and earn your woman. It's not. It's not. Got a question, or just you got a statement? Let me see.
Daryl told I invite her to come get some meat off the grill, fix her some mixed drinks, might get lucky later on when the food settles. Oh God.
Hey, feed them and friend them. Hey, I'm just saying. But you never know. You never know. You might get lucky. You might not. She be like, "Well, if you cook for me again, we'll talk." But
Why do you always have to eat, take a walk, or a hike? Go hike. Yeah, I like action stuff too. Like go for a walk in the park. Stuff like that. Those are very important to me.
I would say take a walk after you eat. It's good to take a
Yeah.
walk and talk, especially during the sunset. As for me, I'm a breakfast person, so I like to cook. If I'm dating somebody, I like to cook them breakfast or brunch. I like to do that. I think that's a nice gesture, but I also think that taking a walk after that or going to the park and maybe just taking a walk around the track and talking and getting to know each other is even better because after you fed them, you get a chance to really sit out and talk and learn more or well talk and walk a little bit and learn more about intimate details, about their past, their present. Then you can understand a little bit more about how they move in the future.
Yep. And I remember I met this guy, and this was like when I was going through my fitness journey, and he knew that I was going through my fitness journey, and he was like, "Let's go for a walk." So he incorporated that into his, into us getting to know each other, like going for walks, and trying to, build that bond that way. So that was important to me, and that was special to me as well. And I
Yeah.
want to go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh
Oh,
no,
I,
I was gonna say yeah, right.
and I want to hit on something in your book when you talk about priorities, because that's a big deal to me. Being made a priority to the person that you're with, So you have this checklist in there, and that's why I'm encouraging everybody to get this book.
Oh, thank you. That's the same
it
thing for
really
me.
makes you wonder. And yeah, it really makes you wonder. So it's like for me, knowing that I'm a priority to somebody is very important. So
Mhm.
when you came up with those list of things, what exactly? I mean, as a man, you know that those things. I know that's not an exclusive list, or whatever, but those things hit home for me. So should women really look at like a checklist for the things that they feel are to see if they're a priority to that person?
I would say yeah. I'm gonna
Mm.
say yeah. I'm gonna say yeah because for me, I want to make sure that that she's not an option. If she says, "Hey, I need morning text messages," okay. Hey, I need a certain amount of phone calls a day. Okay, within reason, because you got some women that are insecure and they just want to know where you are at all times. Um, Even to the point where when you realize a person's a priority, it goes more than just a checklist. Learning her favorite type of flower is a priority. Learning what type of perfume she likes is a priority. Even learning, I mean, if you're okay, just dating and getting to know those things are important. Learning if she has allergies to food is a priority because you don't want her to be sick. Learning what type of restaurants she's frequenting. Learning if she's a vegetarian, a vegan, or if she's a carnivore. You learn all that type of stuff. Um, Now, when it comes to being in a relationship, you need to find out things like what size panties she wears. You need to find out, you never know in case of emergency. You need to find out what type of tampons she uses. You need to find out all these stuff because at that point in time, maybe she's at home and she's cramping and she can't go out, but she needs you to go get them. And men, I'm telling you, it's a whole whew, it's a lot of them out there. So you're gonna need to know these things. So you should know what your woman uses. Even broad, every if does she like lingerie? Does she not like lingerie? Does she like small talk? Does she like conversation? Does she like romance? Does she like what type of movies does she like? What type of desserts that she likes? Does she like apple pie over cherry pie? So anything that will give you the opportunity to know this woman on a more intimate level actually would say is a priority because you're learning and earning. And if you're trying to build with this person, you can't build without a blueprint. And like the Bible says, without knowledge, my people perish. So if you don't know her, you about to perish so the next man can assume the position of where you're supposed to be.
If that wasn't a word, that is a word. Because to me, those little things matter so much to me. I mean, they're so important to me. And I always tell ladies, go with your gut. If you feel like this person is just not making you a priority, look at that. Because trust me, anytime I've ever gone with my gut, I have not been wrong. So when I
Hmm.
looked at your checklist, it was like five of the, I think it's like eight or seven, five of them. You said you checked yes to five of them. 9 times out of 10, you're not a priority to this man. And it's simple stuff.
Yeah,
It's simple stuff.
yeah,
So you know when
yeah.
somebody really wants to be with you and when they don't. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
asking
crazy.
asking about their sorority, asking about when they came across, when did they cross, what was their line name, what was their, do they like paraphernalia, what type of paraphernalia, learning those intricate details, because if they're in organizations, 9 times in 10 they love that organization. There's a reason why, and so you want to know as much as you can about that organization, their line, because you want to get them something unique always. You want to be able to stand out, not blend in like everybody else.
Absolutely. And that's a big deal because I'm that kind of person. I'm very thoughtful. And I had to stop, because I'm big on birthdays. Birthdays are huge to me. I remember birthdays like the back of my head, but I also had to remember that, everybody's memory is not like mine. You know what I mean? And I had to
Hmm.
understand that. So some men, birthdays aren't a big deal, but if you're trying to date me, it's a big deal to me. It's a big, big,
Hmm.
big deal. It's like a holiday. So if a man remembers my birthday, that's a huge deal to me. A big, big deal. So,
I got you.
okay.
When is your birthday? What are you? What are you?
Eight,
Leo? No, you are Aries.
you close.
What are you?
You close. After
You're a
Aries,
Taurus.
I'm a Taurus.
Taurus. Oh wow. Okay.
But I'm a good Taurus. I'm a good Taurus.
I
I'm
didn't say
somewhat.
nothing. My mom and my sister were Tauruses. My mom and my sister are Tauruses. I got nothing to say. Got nothing to say.
Good people,
Got
good
you.
people, good people. But yeah,
And
so yeah, my birthday is 420, ironically. So yeah, 420. Yeah, I'm a 420 baby.
Okay. But you got a
Even though
date. You got a date.
I never knew what 420 meant. You know, people used to be like 420 friendly, and I'm like, what are you
Mm-hmm.
talking about? So then that's a smoking weed day. Oh, and I don't do it, so it's like I guess that's why it wasn't important to me. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, we're winding down. It's almost 6. It's almost 6. But I have enjoyed the conversation, and I
Okay.
do
Okay.
want people to make sure they go to Amazon or any of your local bookstores to purchase the book, Dating with a Destination. His website is down below, Omar Bogan.
Omar Bogan.
And you can follow him on social media and all that. But again, like I said, I'm probably going to be gifting this book to a lot of my girlfriends because married, single, or whatever, it's still a good book, I think, for anybody to read, to get some knowledge about dating and just the opposite sex. I mean, it's good too just to find self recovery and self discovery of yourself. So I think it's a great thing. So
Mm-hmm.
what did you want to leave with the viewers today before we close out?
Oh man, we're trying to do. I just got a publicist. We're trying to do some stuff in Atlanta, trying to find a venue where I can come in and do some speaking or some open Q&A. So we're trying to do that because I've been trying to do Atlanta probably I think maybe about the last 6 months to 7 months. And so what I would say leaving is that ladies, you control this. This is your destiny, and any way that you want to do it, this is the way that you can do it. Be you. Be real to you. Be true to you. Do not bend. Do not break for any man that's not going to be a benefit to you. That's all I can say at that point. Just be the best you for you and just allow a man to appreciate you for who you are. And if he can't appreciate him, kick rocks. Let him go.
Woo! Love it, love it, love it. And thank you, Omar, for being here with me today. And again,
Thank you.
it has been a pleasure. And again, before you all log out, just make sure you like and subscribe and share this video and go and check out Omar on social media and hashtag Omar Speaks and purchase his book and get some knowledge nuggets, like I like to say. And again, everybody have a blessed day. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and share and like this video. Thank you. Bye-bye.